So first of all, thank you very much, Frank. Really welcome. We had the opportunity to know each other thanks to Reach and Raggiungere some time ago, I would say some years ago. And in the meantime, we had always the opportunity to keep active contacts. And here we are again, although it's been now quite a long time that we haven't had the possibility to see each other personally. But many thanks for your availability for this discussion that we will publish in the DysNet's website. So first of all, your long experience with Reach and in respect of disability in general. What can you tell us about that?
I can say that Reach started in 1978 as a very small group, but it's grown now. I think we probably have 2,000 families. And this, I think, is due in part, quite to a surprise, how many more children out there with upper limb deficiency and their parents are finding out because of the internet and possibly the connections that Reach has made with the professionals, that such an association is out there. And I've also, of course, I was a judge for something called Disability Living Allowance, which looked to give awards to children and adults who needed help with their personal care. But it did mean I came into contact with quite a few people and other groups and organizations. And once I finished that, when I was 70 years old, I wasn't allowed to continue. I could continue as an advisor. And so, of course, this meant that people with a wide range of disabilities came to me saying, can you help us get disability living allowance?
Frank, I'd like to go more on the personal side.
Yes.
You don't have arms, but
No.
You don't have limits, actually. And your life has shown that you don't have limits. How did your disability influence your life?
You know, I was talking about this morning to Natalia, where we were saying that children from public schools do better at examinations than people from comprehensives. And I said, if you were to look at the results of the children of teachers and lawyers and all these, they would do probably better than the children of people who collect the litter, who fill the shelves in Tesco and so on. My family was one of those families. They were workers in factories, and it was obvious to me at a very early age, probably 12 or 13, when I fell in love with French, that I would have to earn my living using what little brain I had. And then I was very quickly aware that I had an ability to be very easily accepted by people because of my positive attitude. I always say to the children of Reach, if you can pick your nose with your big toe, life is easy. The parents think this is horrific, but of course what it means then is you can brush your teeth, brush your hair, put on your makeup or whatever. And it's that sort of attitude, I think, that has got me through, this positive attitude. I always say there are obstacles, but there are other ways of getting around it. What you do is you see, how do people with hands do that? Doesn't matter. How do people without hands do that? That's what I'm interested in, how I do it. And I have been very lucky in that I was a university graduate and I studied French, got a good job, married, and have a very, quote, normal life. But of course, it's not a normal life because people don't cook with their feet and so on and so forth. But my lovely wife, Natalia, accepts the fact that I am different.
So we do understand that you have a very intense private life, but apart from this, we know that you also have significant political commitments, starting from Crediton, which is the place where you live. Just something about that. What is this political and what is the importance of it in your, let's say, also private, public life apart from the private one?
Yes, my political life started when I was asked to be a governor of a local primary school. And then I was asked to be a governor of the other primary school. And then suddenly the Liberal Democrats thought, no, we need somebody like this to be part of our group. So I joined the town council. And after about 4 years, it was obvious to me that nobody really wanted to be the chairman of the council and the mayor of the town. Because even now, it pays £480 a year. And you work between 6 and 10 hours a week. So as far as a return financially, it's not. But I just realized I love being part of the town and being a focal point, because obviously if I walk down the high street, everybody knows me because I've got no arms and I'm the mayor and I'm approachable. And from there, it went on to the political party, said, look, why don't you try for district? Because you'll have a bigger influence. And then eventually this year, I decided myself to try for county, because what I wanted to do is to get into county council and to be part of that group of the council that looks at children's services. Because our county council had an Ofsted inspection, which was not a glowing report. And I thought there's work to do there. And in particular, my interest is people with disabilities, the disadvantaged, those with learning difficulties and behavioral difficulties. What do we do for them? How can we improve the service that they get? What support does their family get? Because these children often come from disadvantaged families. And now the problem we are finding is migrant families. And one of the things, the children have a reasonable level of English, but the parents do not. And so they need, and justifiably need, some support from people who, I know a man who can, I know a woman who can help you. And that's really, it's a social mission rather than political. I'm not particularly political. The only politics I hold dear from the Liberal Democrats is we should not have left Europe. I think that's the biggest mistake we've made. And I think many people who voted to leave are now regretting doing just that.
Well, we share that feeling, actually.
Yeah, I'm sure you do, sir. Yes.
Frank, one of the main missions, one of the main purposes of DysNet is being informative, but also being inspirational. So what is the message that you would like to communicate to young families with children born with limb deficiencies? What message would you like to give?
I think the message I give them is there is help out there. When your child is born, you possibly think you're the only parents with a child with a limb deficiency. And I know, quite oddly, I was 12 years old when I first met another person with a missing hand, actually, not arms. And that's when I went to a boarding school. It is now much more common, and the help is out there. And the help is not just with helping you get a prosthesis, but it's help making the right choices. Does your child really need a prosthesis? Can that child live without? I've not used them because I tell children in school, I do a lot of work in schools, and I say, children, I haven't got arms, but I have got hands. What? They say, yes. And you know where my hands are? And they're looking around. No, we haven't got a clue. My feet are my hands. And this is what I've got to tell the parents. Your child is different, but different doesn't mean worse, or it means different. And that difference has to be made acceptable so that when they go into a shop, they may pick up things with their feet, or they may pick up things with their teeth. Society is used to this now. And much of the problem is actually not with the children, but it's with the parents. And you, Sal, have been a parent. You, Claudia, are a parent. So you know what you've gone through as a parent. Your children probably haven't gone through the same sort of dilemmas because you have far more fears for them. You no need to have fears, I will tell the parents. You don't need to have fear. Look at our REACH children. We have 2 doctors, we have a midwife, we have lawyers, we have teachers, we have an airline pilot. Why would you be concerned?
Excellent, great example. Thanks. And one question regarding the future. What are your ambitions from now on?
To live long, to live healthy, to finish and publish my autobiography, and hopefully to become a member of the House of Lords. I've always wanted to skip being an MP because I think it's rather boring. I would love to be a Lord and feel that there you can become an even bigger focal point for people with disabilities and disadvantaged people. So that I think would be my main ambition. But also, of course, I have an ambition to stay in the moment, to make sure that I don't lose what I have. It's mentally. My mother is 101. I went to see her 2 days ago in hospital. She's in there briefly. And one of the nurses, I said, you know, she looks very well for 101, doesn't she? She said, yes, she does. She said, but she told us this morning she's 126. Well, I think I'd like to live to 126.
Excellent.
Yeah. Well, I wish you to realize those ambitions, because I know how important you would be in the public life. So all the best. And my last question: when will we see you again in person?
In
and
person,
where? Because
in Australia non è possibile.
not now, not now. As a matter of fact,
Molto
today.
lontano. It's not far too- I think let us get COVID over and feel safe about traveling. And I still don't feel safe about traveling even to France, which is easy. I can just get on a ship and come back on. But I think by 2023, Natalia and I will be thinking about going over to France and Italy and Spain and going around there because, as you know, parlo francese, parlo spagnolo, but my Italiano is not as good. So I need to come back to Italy to migliorare il mio italiano.
It won't take long to improve your Italian.
I hope not. No.
As we said before, probably it's necessary to spend just a few days inItaly to discover everything you have in in your brain box concerning the Italian language. So don't forget that you're always very welcome to Italy or somewhere in Europe where we will organize some meetings.
Yes.
DysNet, okay?
Wonderful. Yeah.
So, Frank, thanks a lot for your time and as usual for the very pleasant conversation. Gives always some added value to all we know. We hope that, I'm talking on behalf of all the people who are part of DysNet, that we can meet somewhere, as I said, so that we can share opinions live, let's say, once all this story regarding COVID is over.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the moment, thanks a lot again, and all the best for you and for your family.
Thank you. Arrivederci.
Thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
Bye-bye.
See you, mate.
Bye, Sal. Yeah.
Ciao, ciao.
Hasta luego.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao, grazie. Sal, ciao.
Bene.
Ma così ne dice è andata, no? Va bene, no? Mi pare che... Beh, lui
Grand'uomo.
è sempre
Grand'uomo.
è incredibile, incredibile, incredibile. È incredibile. No, ascolta, ne approfitto a margine perché ieri mi ha chiamato Miki per la storia di Bjorn. Non so,
ho visto l'email.
Anche Miki dice, ma anche a me sembra strano. Cioè, io ho guardato, riguardato, non ho ricevuto niente, però nessun problema, insomma. Adesso gliel'ho mandata al suo nuovo indirizzo che mi ha dato Miki e vediamo se mi risponde.
Ha risposto, non l'hai vista?
Ah, non l'ho ancora vista.
Pensavo ti riferissi a quella, è arrivata una mezz'ora fa circa.
Ah, lui è arrivato.
Dice, Hi Hall, I have now left the board of the Swedish Thalidomide Society, but I am still in the local society, FFDN West. e mo arriva il bello. I can still do some banking post-admin works for DysNet.
DysNet, yeah.
What I need is some small office space. DysNet can hire that for like 30 euros a month in my building, paying to BRF, BHB, HubSpot, or whatever it is, not to me. So he says, I can still do some banking post-admin work. Doesn't mean he still wants to be, vabbè, parliamo in italiano, vuole ancora essere vicepresidente. Non ho capito sta frase, ma tu l'hai vista sta email?
Sì, sì, adesso ce l'ho sotto gli occhi, l'ho aperta, non l'avevo vista prima. Allora, da quello che mi diceva Miki, ti giro quello che lei esattamente mi ha girato senza filtri. Lei mi dice che tutto sommato, da quello che ha capito, a lui farebbe piacere poter ancora rimanere collegato, però dice bisogna valutare anche bene se c'è un effettivo valore aggiunto in tutto questo, perché mi parlava di collegamenti che lui ha con Lotta, che forse, io francamente mi sfugge un po' che cosa sia, ma che forse tu in particolare, insomma, non ci trovi dentro questo grande valore aggiunto, non so che. Quindi diceva di chiedere anche a te sul piano amministrativo se tutto questo potesse valere la pena, diciamo, su un piano prettamente operativo. Poi c'è l'aspetto, come dire, umano, che vabbè, se lui vuole ancora rimanere, l'importante è che ci rimanga, faccia qualcosa a parte questa roba qui. Non lo so, ecco, voi lo conoscete meglio di me. È un po' qua, un prendere una decisione se vale la pena o non vale la pena. E se non c'è lui, chi possiamo tirare dentro che effettivamente ci possa dare una mano?
Sì, ma il punto chiave di rimente, prima di pensare a lui, è cosa facciamo con la sede di DysNet? Torniamo ad averla lì in Svezia oppure mandiamo avanti l'idea che abbiamo già esaminato di ricostituire il tutto lì in Belgio, dove cavolo. Da lì deriva il tutto, che se non siamo più in Svezia, tutto il resto è conseguente. La lotta, lui.
Hai ragione. Senti, adesso chiudiamo la telefonata perché poi questo va a tutti. Ti chiamo io sul cellulare subito, va bene?
Ok. Ciao.
Ciao.